Yeah. Breakfast, broke fast. Where's Axel? Where is Axel?
Hi, Chaka.
Wagwan.
Hi, I'm good. What are you having for breakfast?
Red pataya.
Okay, looks really good. Okay.
It's very good.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
Where you?
So I'm Nigerian, but I'm calling in from Doha in Qatar. Yeah. And I'm not going to take a lot of your time, so I'm not going to stay as long as the other ones who stay for like 30 minutes. I just really wanted to come and just really commend you for your patience. So you've been really patient since yesterday, trying to explain yourself and trying to really clarify what you meant. And to be honest, I don't know where you get that patience from, but I think you should bottle it and sell it to the rest of us because, you know, it's really commendable. There was someone who came on yesterday and she was really aggressive with her words. She said some things that even I was getting upset on your behalf, but I think you handled it really well. So I wanted to commend you and to say to you, I think you've explained enough, you've clarified enough, you've told your side of the story, and the people who want to understand will understand. To listen to an intellectual conversation. So whatever you say is not going to make a difference. So I think we can just retire this topic and move on. Otherwise, you're going to wear yourself out.
No, I've got an infinite amount of energy, but it's not progressive. But I wanted to ask you, what's it like being a Nigerian living in Doha?
I think that for different Africans, you have different experiences depending on what you came to do. So if you come for like a white collar job, you get a different reaction and a different interaction than if you come to be like a security guard or you come to do other blue collar jobs, construction work. So it really depends on what you come to do, where you live, and yeah, how you look, how you sound, and how much money you have. So I don't think my experience is representative of all the Nigerians or all the Africans that are currently in Doha. So I'm a bit hesitant to give just one single picture narrative.
Okay,
Yeah,
that's fair.
yeah.
What's it been like there with the COVID stuff? What
Oh
was
my
the
God.
reaction in Doha?
So every day the numbers are rising. So every day we have like 1,800 new cases. And the government here is quite strict. So we're still on kind of a lockdown situation where we're not allowed to gather. If you want to leave your house, even to just go outside your gate, you have to download an app. It's called Eteras. So you have to download a tracking device that will track your movement and let you know if, yeah, there's someone close to you who's had the virus or who has the virus. And if potentially you were in contact with someone who has the virus, maybe down the line, the app will contact you and let you know what you need to do. Yeah.
What happened? What happens if you don't download it but you leave your house?
No, you can get arrested. You're obliged to do that. And then if you don't download it and you want to go to the shops, they're not going to allow you entry because they're going to check the app to see that you're green and you're safe to enter. So if you want to go to the shops, you want to go to the office, you want to go anywhere where there's a public gathering of some sort, you have to have the app. So I don't have the app yet, so I haven't gone anywhere. I do my shopping online, everything I do online. And in the event that I have to go outside, I will be obliged to download the apps, because we also have police checking your phone, and you need to have it. You're obliged to. If you live here, you have to respect the authorities. Yeah.
That sounds like fascism.
Sorry?
That sounds like totalitarian fascism.
Yeah, well, I don't know. So, yeah. So I wanted to ask you something. I'm not going to ask you a lot of questions, because I saw in the last live, people came in and they were really aggressive to you. And after they were aggressive to you, then they asked you like 5,000 questions. So I'm just going to ask you one question. So if you could, do you speak any African language?
I mean, I've been learning some Amharic. I've been learning some Lingala.
Okay.
I haven't really learning Ghanaian Twi, because everybody speaks English as well.
Okay. Okay. That's good to know. So there was something you said. What?
I said, whereas Congo, they don't.
Okay. You were breaking up a bit. I didn't hear towards the end of what you said. But there was something you said with a guy that you had a conversation with. So he did ask you if like African Americans or Africans whose ancestors had been forcefully migrated should begin to consider returning back to the continent. And you said that at this point, it would be kind of counterproductive, and you didn't think that it was something that would be ideal if people came back en masse. And then you recommended that it would be great if instead of that, it was kind of like a staged process where people would invest in Africa, look for business opportunities to ensure that more forex or more resources were being channeled back to Africa. So I wanted to tell you a little bit of what I'm doing in my own little way to facilitate this, because I find that a lot of people look for the big companies to do this. They look for the philanthropists. They look for the people who are billionaires to do this. But all of us on this platform, all of us Africans in diaspora, we do have the responsibility and the opportunity to do something. So is it okay if I share with you what I'm doing at this point, in that direction?
Yeah, of course.
Okay, good. Okay, so I'm going to share with you a project I'm working on that is having quite some good success. So I run an African language school, because I find that we have a lot of languages like French, like Spanish, that people want to learn, but not a lot of people are putting in the effort to learn African languages. We have a lot of Africans in diaspora. We have first generation, second generation, third generation immigrant Africans who don't know how to speak their dialects. And I thought to myself, why do we spend so much resources trying to learn French and English and other languages when we're not investing in our own African languages, especially in this stage in time where a lot of our languages are going extinct. You have people who can speak Yoruba and Hausa and Swahili, but their kids speak only English. So I thought to myself that this was a gap that needed to be kind of filled for people of African descent who wanted to learn a language. And I wanted them to be taught by tutors in Africa. So I wanted to create a connection where Africans on the continent could teach other people outside the continent the language, and also teach them the history and the culture, and just have a really kind of an exchange where you learn the language and then you also pay them for their services. So I started this, I think 2 months ago. And at the moment, we have tutors in Ghana who are teaching P. We have tutors in Nigeria. We have tutors in Kenya teaching Swahili. We have tutors in South Africa teaching Shona. And a lot of the people that come to my school say to me, we are really happy to reconnect to the motherland through language and through the culture. So I just wanted to say that, we don't have to wait for a big philanthropist or someone with billions to begin to invest in Africa. People can look for opportunities for a fair exchange where, we can connect people in Africa with those outside the continent. And that is one small way that we can begin to bring value back to the continent. So the tutors I have back home, a lot of them may not have jobs, but every month they know they're going to get something, and they're going to give something to other people in the diaspora or outside of Africa. So that's what I'm working on. And it's not a marketing, I'm not trying to market myself, but I was asking you if you spoke an African language, because I wanted to offer you a class, a free session on us, if you had an interest in any of the languages that we teach.
What languages do you teach?
So we teach Yoruba, Igbo, and Hausa. We teach B, that's the Akan language. We teach Swahili, we teach Shona, and we teach Wolof. So just tell me what you want.
Okay.
I will arrange one for you. Which one do you fancy?
Hey, I need to learn Swahili.
Swahili, good, excellent. Okay, so I could actually hook you up with a really great teacher, you know, and you could be on your journey.
But will it work for Congo? Because that's why I need to learn it for Congo.
Sorry?
Will the dialect work for Congo? Because I need to learn Swahili for Congo. Because we have where I'm gonna live is in Goma, so they speak Swahili there.
I think the Swahili that is spoken in Kenya, Tanzania, and Congo, they're really very similar. They may have a little bit of differences, but they're really quite similar. And especially the Swahili from Tanzania is the one that is spoken in Congo. So I'm sure that the Swahili you would learn, you can use it in Congo. So what I do is you could have a class and try it out, and then you could test it and see. But it would work in Congo, I'm sure of it. I don't have any tutors in Congo at the moment. For Swahili, we have tutors. Pretty sure that the dialect is the same, just maybe one or two differences.
So how do I do this? How do I start? Do I have to download, DM me?
How do I do this? Oh, yeah. I could send you a DM with a link, and then you sign up. All the classes are held by Zoom. So you could sign up, and I'll hook you up with a teacher, a tutor, and then you could have your first class whenever you're ready. How does that sound?
Amazing. Send me a message now.
Okay.
My friends in here. Axel, we're going to learn Swahili, okay?
Woo! I'm really excited to hear that. So I'm going to DM you with a link.
What's your IG?
What?
What's your IG?
Odunife History. Here for you.
Mm-hmm.
And then I will DM you as well with a link where you can sign up for a class. And there's no pressure to continue if you don't enjoy it, but I'm sure you will, because a lot of people that do our classes, they do it not just for the language, but for the history, for the culture, and for the connection. You know, and it benefits those that learn and those that teach as well. I don't believe in aid. I don't believe we need to beg for things. I believe that we have value that we can share, and we can get value in return as well. So this is why I do the work that I do.
Amazing. Well, hopefully I'm going to learn Swahili.
Yeah, you should. You should. Yeah. So just going back to what I was saying before, just chill. I think you're doing a great job. People appreciate what you do. And there are some people that will never appreciate. They come here from a place of emotions, and whatever you say, they're going to pick something in it. So just you've apologized. You've said everything you need to say. Just relax. And don't stress about, you know, trying to explain over and over again. It's just an exercise in futility, and you don't want to you don't want to get gray hair prematurely, right? So
I won't get gray hair. That's why I'm fasting every week.
Oh, okay.
But thank you for your kind words, and I'm going to learn Swahili.
Oh, good. I'll send you a DM. You know, I'm really happy to hear that. I think you've made my day with just saying you want to learn Swahili.
All right. Asante.
Okay, it was good talking with you. Enjoy the rest of your breakfast, and I'll be in touch.
Yo, where's Axel? Your Axel. We're learning Swahili. I know you want to learn Lingala. Yeah, Axel, man's requested you still. I know you want to learn Lingala, but what are you saying?
Hey,
Yeah?
listen, Sistrin, I beg you please get Lingala because that's my next language, you see? So
Yeah, but she needs to get Papa Solomon.
yeah, Solomon is a tough teacher still. He was my French teacher, man. Here's what's crazy, yeah. French speaking Francophone Africans speak better French than French people. So like I've got two teachers. One's a Congolese Lingala tutor, and then a French teacher, and then another is in France. My French teacher in France it's crazy. Let's not compare. But yeah, Francophone Africans, their adaptation of another language is ridiculous.
What? Swahili, Congo, Goma.
I'm with it. Yeah, I'm both.
Like we. All right, these are the three languages that I feel I need to learn. I need to learn Swahili. I need to learn Lingala. I need to learn Cree. I need to. Sorry, what? 5. I need to learn 6. I need to learn Yoruba. I need to learn Amharic, and I need to learn Zulu.
Yes, you just need you need a west, a central, a east, and a south, and you're nice.
Nice.
Yeah, I'm with Twee. You know, because of obviously how much time I spend in Egypt and taking people there, it does make more sense to learn Arabic for me as well, because I'm interacting with people there in broken English and the odd little Arabic word there, and I know that I can have much more engaging conversations with the people who look after the sites in Egypt, so that I can then interview them.
You also will know when you're being chiefed and when you're not as well.
Exactly. Because here's the other thing as well, you know, the reality of the situation is when we as the diaspora, regardless of where we go back on the continent, yes, we're seen as cousins and brothers and sisters, aunties and uncles and that, but we're also still seen as Westerners. And there's an opportunity when you come as a tourist, yeah, not when you're chilling with your family in, you know, back home, wherever. When you're in tourist mode, you're just another Westerner who can pay a bill. You know what I'm saying? I need to go turn my bath off. 1 sec.
Yeah, that's true. Like people don't treat you welcoming you with open arms unless you're paying money. And if not, then they're just going to do the same. A lot of people, not all, but a lot of people are going to do the same thing, depending on the general culture of the country. Like Ghana, welcoming. But from what I've seen, there's a lot of phobia in South Africa. So it's also kind of culturally, politically, geopolitically, and socio-economically sensitive to how people treat you. But generally speaking, I found that, generally speaking, it's not like a welcoming thing. It's like, are you paying or not? And that's it.
But when it comes to language, though, language I think is massively important. Shekanta Diop or Theophile or Banga, some of the greatest minds that Africa has ever generated. One of them said, and I'll say it verbatim, they say that linguistics is like the fabric of culture. So therefore, when you understand the language of a people, you're able to dissect and understand how their culture orbits and how it works. So for me personally, when people ask me, oh, do I speak an African language? Deep down inside, I want to be like, yeah, I can speak Medunetcha and I can read Medunetcha and things like that, but it doesn't constitute because I can't conversate with nobody. But my point is, going from studying ancient Egypt to
You ever you ever feel like a castaway when you can read an English language and everybody else can't? No one spoke to you in it.
I feel like how the Cushites must feel with the Meroitic script, or how the elders in Ethiopia and Eritrea must feel about Ge'ez when they've got this language which is so beautiful and can hold so much power, but they just have nobody to speak with, you know. But my point was, is like, by me going from studying ancient Egypt in the books and the documentaries and the lectures and this, and then going and actually studying Medu Neter to be able to then create my own lessons, to be able to go to Karnak, go to Luxor, go to Abu Simbel and look at the glyphs and be like, all right, let me go home and study that and understand it from a different perspective. And it's beautiful because whilst books and documentaries and all of these things are amazing, you have to remember that all of these books, whilst they are based on accumulated facts, they are still people's perceptions and build-ups based on that information. So you need to go and create your own perception based on all of the information that you're accumulating from everywhere, not just relying on one source.
You also think that I don't know if you agreement. You know Kareem Loki.
Yeah.
I had a conversation with him years ago, and he went to Seoul, studied Arabic, and he's like, there's so much that, because he's Iraqi, right? He's like, there's so much that is missed in translation. There's so much of a whole culture that a lot of people don't get and can't until they learn the language. So I figure that when we learn Swahili, we're going to be able to get Kenya, Tanzania, and Congolese culture better than when it's being translated into French and then being translated into English.
Mm-hmm. I mean, another thing as well, like, again, from my understanding of African language or different African languages, is a lot of words don't translate very well. There's a lot of proverbial phraseology that's anchored to a single word, which when attempted to be translated doesn't quite work well. So the English language, I believe, is probably one of the most clumsiest languages ever created, because whilst, yes, you can be quite descriptive, it's based on, again, all of the more ancient and more evolved languages. There's a lot more depth, there's a lot more vibrational purpose to the standard flow of a conversation. Everything is by design, you know. There's no accident with the way in which the English language has come about. People still coming in these comments, you know. People be crazy, man.
Yeah. Back to what brother was saying earlier about etymology, saying how, I don't know if you caught this, but he's saying how if you actually say it, be lack, I am be lack, I am being of lacking.
Mm-hmm.
That in itself is quite deep, because apart from like Kemet, generally speaking, Africans never called themselves black. They called themselves based on their cultural history, their clan, sub-clan, etc. So when people start calling themselves a term that has been given to them by English people, by people who literally have created all this, because look at all of the definitions of black, all of the framework around it, from like Black Widow to Black Market, which is just the organ trafficking, etc. And then look, all of the framing around white wedding. In Africa, I've been to a traditional white wedding in Africa just because, and then there's your traditional wedding, and then there's your traditional white wedding. And it's like mad that people literally say, I'm going to have my traditional wedding, I'm going to have my white wedding. But they're having, and it's just like, I don't understand. I don't understand, but that terminology has been used to dehumanize a people who were never a people. They were various territorial states, cultures, languages, etc., etc. And I think they actually dismissed a lot of history when we determined that literally thousands of different ethnic groups and languages was all one people.
And this is it. We are the most politicized people. Our history, language, culture, existence, everything about it has been highly politicized. And I made a post and I put it up last night about old encyclopedias. In old encyclopedias circa the 19th and 20th century, so 100 and 200 and 250 years ago, Caucasian people were not just white people, but they were certain groups of people in Africa. They separated completely the Australasianoid, the Negroid. They separated white from European. They separated Amerindian from Arctic. So like the politicization of ethnicity, race, and identity has began 300 years ago. So like what we're dealing with now is we're trying to put our finger on something which has been confused so many times, and we're expecting everybody to all be on the same page when so like you were saying, for example, people in Ethiopia and Eritrea, some of them are saying, well, we're not Africans, we're Arabs. But we know that you're African because that's what our history is saying, but your history is telling you something else. So whereas you're going to go to Egypt, for example, Egypt is a classic example because a lot of the population are going to tell you that they're Arab. Another population, a part of the population, are going to tell you that they're African. Same with the Cushites in the south of Egypt. We know that they're Cushites. We know that they're basically Sudanese people. But they're telling us that they're Arab. So we can't expect everybody to be on the same page when this has been something which has been confused and thrown around so many times.
I also think that the expectation of people to have everybody to have the understanding is expecting everybody to speak English or expecting everybody to believe what you believe. The whole point of a village is that there were differences in opinions, but they were all going in the same direction. If you didn't have difference in opinions, then it would think the same way as everybody else.
People don't listen. I swear down.
They won't come live, and if they do, every time I bring somebody live, it's like we agree at the end of the conversation. So it's just like, but what I've got to justify it to every single person. I don't know what I'm supposed to do. At this point, I'm beyond caring. It's just like, well, it is what it is now. Shit.
Here's the thing, there's a lot of information out there, and it would be great for more people to take advantage of not only the abundance of free time that we now have, but also the abundance of information that we have access to. A simple Google search won't work. You need to go onto other platforms like DuckDuckGo, which is not biased, and you'll get actual search results. So go and search into your history. Go and read the books. The stuff is there. People have been tired with biased scholarship for the last 2 decades and have been releasing very good work. So there's no reason for us to kind of be doing this and going back and forth, really.
But also, people have an emotional commitment to ignorance.
Quick question. Papua New Guinea.
Yeah. What, West Papua, you mean?
West Papua.
They're carrying out a magic. The COVID thing happened. It's like because everybody's not allowed, like people aren't allowed out of their houses, they're using that to gentrify. Well, not even gentrify, they're using that to colonize West Papua so that they can steal their gold. Like, I want to talk about like Black Lives Matter, genocides. 575,000 people have been murdered by the Indonesians in West Papua for their gold since like 1960.
So just so then that we can provide some type of context to how things like this happen, because this essentially is a micro colonization. What's going to happen? They're going to come through. They're going to colonize the area. They're going to subjugate the people. how did they go about doing that? What were the type of tactics that they did? Because other than just going in there and beating people down that they're doing now, what type of preemptive tactics did they come to what's the word? Divide the community for them to be able to incept?
Really, they tried to tell people that belief system basically pagan, same rhetoric. They tried to tell them they were, you know, non-believers, and because of that, they were evil. They tried to do the reservation thing, like creating communities of people, removing people from the land and creating communities that are forced integration. They did it with nutritional genocide, destroying people's food, so that forcing them to flee from land that they wanted to excavate for mining. They did it with color division, so racism, and basically creating racial constructs around a racial dichotomy based on skin tone. They did it on classism, so like the people who were in Indonesia, the land of the people of West Papua, were given help by the government to basically help to colonize the land. So if you had a bit of money, it's very easy for you to go and get some land over there, and you have the police to back you up to protect that land. Same thing, man. Then they and then one of the biggest tools for it was media propaganda. They made it seem like these people who are indigenous people of West Papua, they made it seem like these people were savages and they were cannibals, and you know they ate children and all that stupid nonsense that gave them this mandate for genocide. So now a lot of people in Indonesia either don't know it's happening or think that, or when West Papuans are killed, they say, what did they do first? They say,
so it's fair to
oh,
say
so
that essentially they've ran the same dehumanization campaign that has been ran time and time again from 1492 with the expulsion of the Moriscos right through to the invasion of the West Coast, the East Coast, Central coast, well, the center of the continent. What they're doing, or what they did in Palestine, what they're doing in Yemen, the same type of divide, conquer, oppress, and dehumanize. I just wanted to kind of ask you that just so people can understand, like, the blueprint for oppression is the same.
on one of the reparations marches in London, the leader of the country of West Papua came to the reparations march to say to the Rastas, we need your solidarity because our people are being murdered right now in West Papua. And it kind of didn't fall on deaf ears, but it fell on ears that were not responsible, because they don't have the, if you're asking for reparations from your government, it's going to be very difficult for you to be able to respond to another oppressed people who are being destroyed by their government. But I'll just read this little bit to give some proper context. It is strange that this oppression received little to no media coverage, considering a recent fact-finding mission conducted by the Brisbane Archdiocese Catholic Justice and Peace Commission reported that West Papua was experiencing a slow-motion genocide. A report warned West Papua's indigenous population is at risk of becoming an anthropological museum exhibit of a bygone culture. When you learn what fuels the conflict in West Papua, it becomes clear why these issues are hardly a blink from our peaceful competition establishment. West Papua is home to the world's largest gold mines and third largest copper mine, known as the Grasberg mine. Grasberg, majority owned by the American mining firm Freeport McMoran. It has reserves of an estimated 100 billion, and the company is Indonesia's biggest taxpayer.
Well, I guess there's the root to this, the problem there. I mean, where have America not touched down on in foreign land and been and there's not been an aftermath? You can literally name I could literally name 10 countries just in Africa where America have provably, through their extended military arms, had agents and whole entire armies disrupt civil society just so that America can get its piece, secure the bag.
Look at this, yeah. This is one of the maddest things. People are actually interested. These are the countries that USA's government has been involved in a regime change in. Okay, so coup d'etat, so basically kicking out the government to bring in a government that's favorable to your foreign policy. Latin America, Southwest Pacific, Philippines, Panama, Honduras, Nicaragua, Mexico, Haiti, and the Dominican Republic, Germany, Philippines, Japan, Korea, China, Europe, also, tried extensively in Cuba, Indonesia, Iran, Lebanon. Another study found that the US engaged in 64 covert and 6 overt attempts at regime change during the Cold War. 64 just during the Cold War. That's only a period of 10 years, my brother. So basically, pre-1887, the United States had been at war with the Ottoman Empire, and they were actually ineffective at getting the Pasha of Tripoli. Then after that, Mexico.
Somebody said, just say everywhere.
Wait. Then Samoa, the Samoan crisis was a confrontation between the United States, Germany, and Great Britain, 7 to 1889, with the powers backing rival claimant to the throne of the Samoan Islands, which became the first Samoan Civil War. Hawaii, Panama, Honduras, Cuba, Nicaragua, Mexico, Haiti, Dominican Republic, Germany, Austria-Hungary, Russia. Now it gets mad. Japan, Germany, Italy, France, Belgium, Netherlands, Philippines, Cold War. China, Greece, Italy, Costa Rica, Korea, Egypt, Iran, Cuba, Guatemala, Syria, Tunisia, Lebanon, Iraq, Cuba, Congo in the 1960s, Dominican Republic, Laos, Brazil, Iraq, Chile, Vietnam, Dominican Republic, Indonesia, Cambodia. Fam, you know that the USA, out of its 250 years of existence, has been at war for 235 of them.
It's peak. And do you know one of the only one nations that's deeper than them, who go harder than them? United Kingdom, Great Britain. Great Britain. Well, yeah, England. England, to be specific, to be very specific, the only country that goes harder than the United States in foreign affairs manipulation is the United Kingdom. And what I think is so crazy about this is literally when you look at the map, guys, the United Kingdom is a tiny little dotted rock that just happens to be above the water. Like, just about. Like, literally, with rising tides, climate change, this, that, and the third in 50 years, we probably won't even be here. So the fact that this tiny little island that produces not even that many people has been able to subjugate and infiltrate the entire world is a madness. 192 countries, I think it is. Let me just go and get the fact.
Where is red? That's where they owned at one point.
Yeah. But that doesn't include how many countries that they've actually beefed in. Britain has invaded all but 22 countries in the world in its long, colourful history, new research has found. And that was released on the 4th of the 12th.
Why is it being written about as if like, you know, it's Britain's colorful history. They just like in its evil colonization, they invaded every country on earth apart from 22, probably because they didn't want to. That's it.
Well, I mean, I can only imagine that those 22 are. Let's find out real quick because I can never remember them off the top of my head. Telegraph. I'm not signing up.
Probably Greenland and shit. Because, like, look, they didn't invade Ethiopia, but they were working closely with the Ethiopian government so that they could keep getting their gold.
So the 22 countries are Sweden, Luxembourg, Mongolia, Bolivia, Belarus. Oh, okay, that isn't the full list. Yeah. The US currently has military personnel stationed in all but 43 countries across the world.
Same shit, different day.
So it's a bit of a madness.
Yo, go live. Let me come into your live.
Me, I need to